Welcome, Panther fans, to another edition of Panther Preview. I'm Harold Tillman, joined by head football coach, Pascagoula High School, Lewis Sims. Coach, we were able to put a check mark in that win column last week. We had talked about it, before the game, that it was a game of first, kind of, but it ended up being a game of halves. The first half compared to the second half.
Right. So we came out, it was a nice windy, rainy night. Rain right before we got there came down real hard. After that, none. I mean, we had a few sprinkles here and there, so the weather was not a factor. Got a beautiful facility. Their turf is really nice, and had a nice crowd, some good smelling hot dogs and sausages and peppers and onions. And man, my stomach started growling pregame, but it seemed like the Bulldogs were a little hungrier than we were right there at the beginning. So we go down 14-0. We get the ball back. We had a couple of turnovers, and Vancleave took advantage of them. So we're down 21-7 with about a minute to go in the half. We're able to score in about 20 seconds. And because we had won the toss, we deferred to the second half. We were able to come out second half, score very quickly. We're able to tie the game up at 21-all. Made some adjustments at the halftime. Credit, Coach Bishop and the defensive staff. They came in, made a couple of adjustments. We were able to go out and get a stop. Once we got that stop, we went up 28-21. Again, they came out. They did some really special things on offense. They were able to complete a deep pass. We were able to recover, but they were able to score. So they tied it up 28-28. Well, after it was tied at 28-28, offensively, we really began to hit our stride. I think had an interception and 3 punts that we were able to turn into 21 points, and we ended up 49-28. And just a tremendous half. If you looked at our offensive production, we had a little bit over 160 yards in the first half, and in the second half we had 320. So credit Keelan Parnell as our offensive player of the game there for the first half. Second half together, he combined for 233 yards passing and 106 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Receiving wise, we had a lot of different people step up, from Nylan Harper with his first touchdown as a Panther. You had a couple of catches. You had Houston Johnson, of course, 145 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Just an incredible night for him. You had, Connor Young had a catch. You had Brendan Grubb step up, had a tremendous 4th down catch for us there in the second half. Really helped keep a drive going. So he had 5 different catches that were really nice. And then coming out of the backfield, of course, you had Isaiah Ben, 96, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns as well on about 7 or 8 carries. And then D West came in and did a really good job. Had 5 or 6 carries for about 30 yards as well. So offensively, we put everything together. Defensively, Jacorden Davis had another great night on the field. 13 tackles and an interception, gives him 3 interceptions for the year. So Jay was our defensive player of the game, and then Nick Davis on special teams came up big for us, had some big hits, a couple of tackles for big plays for us on special teams. But probably the most impressive stat we had is we didn't punt all night, and that was a really good thing for us to do, and we took advantage of those opportunities once we held on to the football. Credit Coach Brewer and the offensive staff for getting the ball into space and letting our playmakers make plays.
Well, I tell you, as a fan, after the first half, at halftime, I was sitting going, man, what is going on? The low of lows, and then after that second half, at sort of the high of highs, everything started clicking for us. I was proud of the way they played.
Oh, yeah. Our whole goal this week going into the Harrison Central game is to have 2 halves. We haven't put together 2 halves yet. We'd really like to do that this week. And you take a look at Harrison Central, they've got a returning quarterback that's just outside his mind. He's really good. He can run, he can throw. They've got receivers that are all over the place and can go get the football. They have a running back that's probably one of the fastest kids on the coast. He's really, really good. They're coached well by Casey Kane and his staff. And defensively, they might have replaced a lot of kids on defense from last year, but the ones they replaced them with, there's a reason they didn't play. Because the guys in front of them were really good. They're really good, too. There wasn't a whole lot of difference in this year and last year's defense at Harrison Central.
Well, and I was looking at this. Look, every year after a football game, I write down some notes so I'll remember the next year. And one of the notes I had written down for number 3 was gave us fits all night long on the reverses.
Right.
That quarterback, amazing. Last year he threw for he was a 10th grader. He threw for over 2,200 yards. Yeah. I think 26, 27 touchdowns and only 3 or 4 interceptions,
right.
which is amazing in itself. Christian Turner is his name, number 1. Number 3 is going to be Isaiah Adkins.
Right.
So those are the 2 that you need to really watch, and you're going to get a lot of contribution from the others too. But those are the 2 that stood out.
Right,
in my mind.
right. And for us, it's just about doing our job, going in, putting 2 halves together, and playing football. If we can do that and play with confidence, we're going to be just fine.
Well, that sounds good. Tell you what, we're going to Harrison Central next week, or Friday night. I hope you're there with us. But if you're not able to, tune in on Facebook Live or YouTube. We're going to be, WGUD, we're bringing you the game. But for now, hopefully we'll see you in Harrison Central.